Welcome to Drill Talks, an immersive series with icons, experts, and industry innovators on progressing the drilling industry. This episode is with Matrix Drilling Products. We start with the story of two brothers who merged their knowledge and experiences to continue the long lineage of Matrix Drilling Products. We hear from Chris and Nate on stories of drilling experience and leadership experience throughout the years. The episode wraps with introducing the Matrix team in the field and how they use their knowledge and experience to put the right string in the right hands every time. There's so much great information in this episode, and this is just the beginning for the Matrix Drill Talks. I hope you enjoy.
Nate, why don't you go first?
I'll go first. Okay. My name's Nate Delahunty, and I'm with this guy right here first and foremost. And the story of how it is that we're here is interesting, at least to us. But Chris and I start years ago in college, getting a couple of skill sets that complement one another, I would say. Things he likes to do and excels at are not the things I excel at, and maybe the same is true in reverse. But we've been working together in one form or fashion for the past 20 years, and in that process, trying to solve problems. Solving problems, I think, is what we've been all about. My discipline: accounting, finance, CPA track for a few years. Left that world and went into business, learned operations, learned materials, learned the mechanics of business, got into finance leadership roles, and just found that space to be fun, engaging, and natural for me. I had a couple stints as a finance leadership. And in a partnership where I was at for 12 years, we focused on leadership development. And so that was a big emphasis in my life. And then had an opportunity to put that close that chapter for myself, and open a new one 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago now with Chris. Full time, as our interests kind of merged into this opportunity at Matrix Drilling Products. And that's me. So if I didn't bore anybody too much with that, we can get the exciting guy in the room to share his background.
Don't know about that, but yeah, like early on, as Nate said, going through college, I was interested in the sciences, interested in studying, science. Didn't really know where I was going to go with all that at the time, and had a friend by the name of Jeff Anderson. You remember Jeff?
Oh, Jeff, Huey.
Yep.
Big Jeff.
Jeff Anderson. He came to me one day and he says, "Science, you don't want to do that. You want to be in business." And so I think to myself, yeah, I want to be in business. So I signed up for my first accounting class and my economics class. Economics was okay. I took accounting.
Right.
Holy crap, man! I was failing that class so bad. And at that time, I knew that business wasn't my shtick.
You had to beg your professor to get a C or something so you could play football, right?
No, I had to beg for a D.
Okay.
So I passed the class, so I wouldn't ever have to come back to it again.
Okay.
I told him I wouldn't come back anyway. So accounting just wasn't my thing. Science is where it was at for me. So going through school, engineering, mathematics, physics, and at the time, Nate, you recall you were kind of on a similar track. You were headed into engineering. You got yourself all fitted up. You had everything ready to go. You had your HP calculator. You were all stoked, and about the same reaction, right? You got into math. You got into the science of it, and you said, "This ain't for me."
Oh yeah. There was one day when I remember I was like, if that's where engineering takes me, I'm gonna find another path.
You find another path, right? So he bequests. He basically gives me his HP calculator.
Yep.
I was a TI guy at the time until I got a hold of that HP calculator, and now I'm forever an HP guy. And so I still have it. I use it every day for the last, it's got to be 20, 25 years.
At least.
At least. And so it's a great memory of something that you gave to me that was so awesome.
Connects us.
And connects us that way, but use it all the time. And into the sciences I went, degree in mathematics, degree in physics, then onto my master's program in civil engineering. And completed that. And the time that I was at the University of Utah, you and I were both there at the same time.
Yeah.
Late 1990s, 99 is when I was finishing up. Had a unique opportunity to go to work for a diamond wireline coring company by the name of Dosek Exploration. Acronym: Drilling, Observation, and Sampling of the Earth's Continental Crust. Big lot of words for a company.
It's a mouthful.
I was employee number 3 at that company, and we traveled all over the world drilling for global climate change as a mainstay. And boy, I got hooked into the drilling industry. Absolutely loved it. I remember my professor telling me, "You're going to do what?
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to go into civil engineering?" And
Yeah.
this was my civil engineering mentor, and I said, "Yeah, man, I'm going to drilling." And he's like,
Because the Olympics were coming, and you guys had just done seismic testing on the bridges on I-15 up and down.
Yep, that was all of my thesis. We did all the seismic retrofit testing on I-15 in Salt Lake Valley. So yeah, it was a blow to him, but you know what? It was one of the best decisions in my life.
Yeah.
My life turned that day, and I was hooked. Drilling was a passion that I didn't even know I had. You know, how we grew up and where we came from. You know, we worked for our father for many years, each of us in different respects. At the age of, it must have been 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, doing various jobs for Dad. And I found myself to be in the corporate headquarters of Bort Longyear in Salt Lake City off of California and Pioneer, in their production area and in their office areas, doing various jobs, carpet, linoleum, whatever it was, and walking around looking at all the cool things that were being manufactured there, and not even understanding what I was looking at, but not knowing what was coming.
Yeah.
For me, and utilizing and the tooling, the Longyear suite of tooling in our diamond coring operations for 20 years after I started coring. So
that's interesting foreshadowing right there. You were actually paying attention when you were working for Dad, whereas me, I can't even remember things like that.
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, manufacturing is always, has always held a near and dear part in my heart. I like this. I like building. I like fabricating. I like working with my hands and making something. Building something, and everyone wants to leave a mark in the world when they leave. And hopefully this will be a mark that will pass the generations and be around.
That's cool.
Long after we're dust.
Well, so. and there's a legacy somewhere in here that wants to happen. It really wants to happen, and there are big shoulders that we stand on. I think
we stand on the shoulders of giants that have come before us.
I think so. It feels like that.
Yeah, definitely.
I know I couldn't have been.
Mom and Dad,
for sure.
Family in general, but I look at the opportunity that was given to me to work for Dosek, Dennis Nielsen. Didn't always see eye to eye, but always thankful for him and for the opportunity to get started in. And Dosek as a basis and a company that would allow me to learn and grow and then pull my engineering skills in and then build and design and put all kinds of crazy schemes out into the drilling schemes out into the world that would help us, basically push science and understanding of Earth processes.
Oh, absolutely.
And then coming to a point where, Kent and Nancy Peters,
Bob
the opportunity, Bob Peters before him. I've never met Bob Peters directly face to face, but definitely had talked to him several times on the phone. And yeah, you have Helmet.
These are big shoulders.
Big shoulders of all the people who came before to make matrix drilling products what it is today, and we're just lucky to be a continuation.
So 2018, the opportunity to look at something new comes. And
Yep.
you left OSEC in 17.
Left right around the beginning of 2017. So at the end of 2018, after having been out of DOSEC for about a year and a half, just got on LinkedIn one day and threw my shingle out there as wanting to get back into a good drilling group or somewhere, didn't really know what. 20 minutes later, get a phone call from Kent Peters saying, we need to talk.
Yeah.
And that was the rest is history there. So,
Because you had just, I don't know if this is the time to go into this, but you had just wrapped up operations, or at least the segment that you were in with DOSEC in Antarctica. And probably what could be a swan song venture for your career to that point.
sure was. It was the last continent I had to actually get on and spud into and take some core out of and drill your,
What fascinated me though was you guys were chasing missing inches of snowpack, if I remember right. Yeah.
Yeah, we were drilling through the ice in order to start getting geologic record of the Antarctic continent itself.
Okay. The bedrock.
Yeah, the bedrock. So it was a system that we had built and designed at DOSEC. 4-year project lead up to deployment, and without saying, it doesn't go without saying that there are a lot of great institutions and people around us. John Googe at the University of Minnesota and Jeff Severinghouse at Scripps in San Diego, all part of that process. But the ability to get to Antarctica and drag your modified LF 230 drill rig out onto the ice and poke a hole through the ice and start getting some core was a phenomenal experience.
I can imagine. Oh my gosh. And I remember the pictures coming back in. You had a Google Drive that you shared with the family, and like your beard slowly went from this to this to this to like something. Someone get that guy home, because
long times on the road, and that's a pretty common theme through most people in the industry. This is an industry that sacrifices a lot of time with family in order to go and do the things that most people can't or won't.
Right.
And it doesn't happen in your backyard. So it requires a lot of time and travel on the road. And so my hat's off to every person who's ever been in the drilling industry and the time and effort that they put into it, because I know and I understand what it takes to run successful operations that are not your 9-to-5s in the town you live in.
Yeah. That's so true. I think that's an intro point for me to say, when I was home developing business skills and acumen, those were, and I really, what I wanted to say was, I remember when you were designing, and we kind of had formed side company to create designs for enclosures that would house scientists in adverse environments, or whether it was a platform that had to hang off of a drill ship. And you were using your engineering and math background to create designs to make the equipment, build the equipment that would go out into the environments where the drilling had to take place. I was back home and developing business and finding avenues and angles there. But there was a connection that was in support of one another that I think started early on. Like El Chichen, I remember.
El Gagitkin.
El Gagitkin.
Yeah.
I got the pronunciation wrong.
Siberia, Russia. Meteorite impact structure. Yeah.
And build. It was fascinating because you were going what I thought was the worst time of the year to go drill, the winter.
Yep. Right.
Why would you drill in the winter?
Right. The dead of winter in Siberia.
On top of ice over a meteor impact lake.
Yeah.
Well, it was a lake at that point.
Yeah, it was a frozen lake. Yeah. Well, if you've ever tried to drive through permafrost areas in the summer, you'd know real quick that you're not making it very far. It's about 3 foot of swampy goo, and And so yeah, everything we had to do was in the winter just for transport sake.
So it was fascinating though to see those pictures come back and what me little H help, you big H help pulled off, and it was phenomenal, fascinating stuff.
I think that the aspect of teamwork is though that again, there are things that there are skill sets that I do that I have that you have that I don't. It doesn't necessarily correlate in terms of time. At least I've never really tried to look at it that way, right? I mean, the things you do that I hate to do or can't do, and that's opening up a ledger. When you just give me a number and say, "Hey, this is what it is," I'm like, "All right, we're gonna go." But if you ask me to balance that son of a gun, I'm gonna be in trouble. And so all those things that make a business run strong really boil down to, I think, what we have found in terms of our entrepreneurial operating system, which is traction.
Sure.
Thank you, Gino Wickman.
Yes.
But in that, things that we didn't even know are brought to our attention, that most companies have a visionary. And visionaries aren't necessarily the right person to run all aspects of their business. They have a vision, they know what they want, they can see it, they can even help develop and get it to there, but then implementing it, right, is the next step, where I think all of your skills come in, and as Traction calls it, an integrator, somebody who can take the ball and run with it while the visionary is working on the next thing. And that's where our strengths lie together, because you've been able to help get Matrix to a point where in 4 short years we're functioning, and we're profitable, but we're making great equipment, and we're being a service to the industry that we love.
Yeah, agree, fully agree. And part of that space where we find ourselves today is surrounded by amazing people.
Absolutely.
Surrounded by amazing people.
I know some of them are watching in today, so a shout out to our guys, our family back at Matrix, and all of those wonderful people. We think about you guys every day. What we do for you. We do for us. We do for you. We pray for you guys, and we long for the success and happiness that comes with healthy company. Understanding that we have work today, we have work tomorrow, and that we have work down the future, because people know what we provide for them, and they're willing to, even when you go through crazy COVID times and steel's not available, they'll wait for the right product instead of jumping to subclass stuff and then having a wreck in their hole. So, but our Matrix family, and absolutely outstanding. Wouldn't be here without them.
Getting to know, pardon me, drilling acumen, engineering background, science background, exploration background, financial acumen, business, being entrepreneurs and having a knack for business and seeing things take root and grow. Thank you for the work that the Peters had done to really bring Matrix to where it is. And then in 2018, leading into 2019, when we joined up forces, and now today we find ourselves drillers building tools for drillers.
Right.
I think if I can.
Absolutely. I mean, there's been plenty of manufacturers out there who have built stuff for the drilling industry that can build to a specification, but don't understand the implementation. And that's something that we have a great command on. And that's not only because of me or you, but our great sales group, Art, Aaron, George, people on the outside who have been lifers in the drilling industry, who understand this stuff. So when they're working with clientele, they're able to help put, as we call it, the right string in the right hands.
It all comes down to that.
It all comes down because people will come to you and they'll want, this is what I want to do, and I want to buy this. This is what I want. Not knowing that there is a system, there could be a system already that they're not aware of. So a little bit of education, bringing them around to the right string, and definitely bypassing some pitfalls that we've all been in. And if you've been in the drilling industry for 2 days, you've seen a pitfall that you hit that you didn't expect. And there is industry knowledge out there, but and funny enough, as we're talking with Brock over the last couple of days, we have a bad habit of forgetting more things than we remember in the industry, and nothing, and that is so true that those industry icons, the people who have all of this knowledge, man, if it was just written down and put in a book, that we could all have a manual, right? And I think ultimately, Matrix Drilling Products, along with many others that we talked to, really want that educational system that is a basis that you could hand somebody a book and say, okay, man, this is what you need to know to start day one, right?
Yeah, well, and that process is one of experience, first experience.
Yeah.
Being in the field and knowing where the pitfalls are, because you'll avoid those naturally as you want to see efficiency in operations. But when we talk about the right string in the right hands, I mean, and there might be folks out there who know exactly what that means, say, or what it means to them. There might be others out there who are being introduced to this topic for the first time.
Sure.
So we love it. We love being able to explain what it is that we mean by the right string.
Well, if you have questions, give us a call.
Yeah.
We'll be glad to talk to you about it.
Right there. Yeah.
Without going much further down the drilling path, you also have to pull back and just be thankful for the good women and family in our lives. I think Camille and Katie obviously put up with a lot of driller irregularity.
Yeah.
A lot of time away from home and always holding down the home front, which is an important part of anybody's life and any aspect of industry, finance, whatever it is, right? If home life is not good, work life is not good.
It's so true.
And so thankful to Camille and Katie, and they actually are the springboard that helps us go do what we do.
Yeah, they are for me and Katie for sure, the rock of my life and motivation for getting out there and really doing a lot of what we do, that base motivation. So I couldn't agree.
Super.
That brings to mind, Chris, systems have to evolve to solve more complex problems than the ones that we're approaching that are coming at us today. There are real problems to be solved in the world. Is it fair to say, and I think we could talk about this, we took the stance that we want to solve problems that exist out there, that we didn't come to Matrix to just build drill pipe.
Sure.
We came to solve problems, and in that process we have been working on our ability to design, develop, and create new solutions.
So along that line, and I guess looking at the times drilling at DOSEC, problems that we were always having, we were drilling over deep lakes. So we were on barges of our own design, and we would anchor it. So when weather got a little stormy and pushing around, we were always having problems with our casing. We were always having a problem with our riser casing. We were always having problems with twisting off drill rods that were great rods, but just weren't intended to have so much lateral deflection while you're drilling. So really, it came to a point where we were searching for a new process to drill with, and this came in the form of riser-less drilling, and the solution was actually found in early 2009 with Matrix Drilling Products. At the time, Kent Peters was running, and Bob Peters was their engineering, and they had brought to me a new type of pipe that I hadn't been aware of, which had been around for a while. It's a CHD thread, but an internally upset pipe that had a lot better flexural characteristics to it, and it immediately took over everything we did. We were able to push off drilling with PQ drill rods as we would traditionally drill in the coring industry, and start utilizing borehole assembly for a PQ system, but able to go through these rods. And what I found in Matrix at the time was a group of people who really had a passion about servicing the drilling industry, just as we do today.
Mm-hmm.
And so, introduction there, and pretty soon, all kinds of interesting projects are coming at us. The Antarctica project, they helped develop an additional type of drilling rod for Antarctica that was lightweight, aluminum, steel two joints with aluminum mid bodies for lightweight purposes. All kinds of fun things, and so basically working with Kent Peters over the years is the introduction to Matrix that allowed us to have a door open to us at the point that when I put my shingle out there on LinkedIn, and Kent called right back because he already knew me. He knew what I was into, what I was doing. He knew that he believed that I was the right person for the continuation of Matrix. And so as everything comes around, it's hard to hold all hats in a business, right? You're constantly flipping hats, and to have a partner, somebody who can watch the other side, which you and I have been in real business together since mid 2000s, 2005, 2006, in endeavors. I knew you were the right guy to help me partner and run this business so that it was successful and it moved in that direction and didn't just creep along at a flat growth or not being able to service everyone or anyone. So
yeah, you mentioned the relationships that developed over time with Kent at Matrix and Bob, and really, if you want to think about it, even the folks that have been there, how many people at Matrix have been there for 30 years?
Right now we're coming up this year on
35 years.
We're coming up on 10 people that will have been employees there over 30 years, and we have another 10 in between 10 and 20 and 30.
So it's kind of a relationship with those guys too.
Absolutely.
Those individuals as well. And the team that was surrounding Bob and Kent also supplied what it is that you are doing at DOSEC. There's a deep trust there, and here to solve problems is what we've really come to talk about today. And what you were doing back then supports how it is that we go forward today. And one of the great achievements, I think, of Matrix today is using some of your ability to drill over open water in some of the client solutions that we've been creating today, who are now drilling over open water, trying to tap into resources that they go for. So there is a solution set that comes with experience in the background that we've built over decades now. And yeah, the question could be asked, why are we not doing this somewhere else where it's easier, where it's there's less, you're not fighting Mother Nature, so to speak. Try to get in sync with Mother Nature, because you don't fight her. She's in control.
She definitely wins.
She wins. And so getting in sync with her carries its own set of challenges. And so, yeah, why choose to deploy our effort in this vertical, into these areas? That's a great question. And I think that the part of the answer for that is first, sheer passion for drilling.
I'll tell you, if it wasn't any different than a snake bite, it would be just like that. The first time I went drilling, the first job I was deployed on was drilling in the British West Indies on a small island by the name of Montserrat. It's at the time has an active volcano on it still, but at the time had a very active volcano in the Mount Soufriere Hills. And 1995, that volcano became active again, and over time, with block and ash flows and torrential rainfalls, it basically had a huge landslide that covered up the capital city of Plymouth and killed a lot of people. I don't remember the statistics; it's available online to look at. But here we were putting in long wave seismometers that would give the volcano observatory early warning detection system for people who lived on that island so that they could know what was about to happen.
Sure.
2/3 of that island is excluded. Basically, that means that if you go in there, you're on your own. No one's coming in to save you, right? And so, infrastructure wise, there was a lot of people who lost a lot of things there. So understanding that earth process was important to them. But here I am in the middle of the night mixing mud in the worms corner. So I, got all the way through college and a master's degree. I'm bright and shiny. I get spit out into the worms corner, and I'm mixing drilling fluids for the operation there. And at nighttime, looking up at that volcano, and you've got all this red. I mean, it looks like lava, but it's just superheated ash flows coming down around you. I mean, I've got an old video of it, but I can't even find it anymore. I don't even know if that format is. I mean, so long ago, I don't even know if that format supported. But man, just being out in the open in a very remote place with this incredible earth process going on, not knowing if it was just going to blow up right while you're there.
Sure.
Installing these seismometers in order to help people, and understand earth processes. So I remember they'd come on the squawk box every now and then and just be evacuate, because they could sense something was going on. You'd hit the emergency stop. You'd hit the emergency stop, cut off your pumps, jump in the truck, and you had about 10 minutes to get down through a very specific wash over to the safe side of the island before the ash flow came down through that wash. And if you were on this side of it, you were stuck. If you were on that side of it, you could go get dinner and think about it for a few days while everything cooled off. But just absolutely insane experience. And I knew I wanted to be involved in drilling the rest of my life. And that's really where it started for me in the drilling industry. And just amazing opportunity. And DOSEC wasn't the run-of-the-mill drilling company. They were involved in science very, very deeply, and so we were looking at cutting-edge projects that were trying to do wild, crazy things in the most remote areas to understand global climate change, understand the Hominins Project, the beginning, the origins of humans. And we worked for the Smithsonian. We worked for the National Science Foundation, who was a great institution in our country and what they do and trying to understand the earth. But hundreds and hundreds of universities that we've worked for, governments, and just absolutely blown away at the people in the industry and the people who have. I've met people that probably got out of high school that are way smarter than me in this industry, and they're brilliant about drilling. They're brilliant about how to get the results that we're looking for in the drilling industry. And so, again, standing on the shoulders of giants, many people who came before. A couple of my mentors, Marshall Pardee with QD Tech, formerly of Dynatech, Tonto Drilling, and Bruce Howell, Turnstile of Idaho. Bruce is gone now, but great mentors that taught me a lot. And I met Helmut in those days, who was at Matrix. I actually visited Matrix Idaho plant a couple of times in my early drilling career and didn't think too much about it, but we had a lot of cross connections between Matrix and myself over the years. So
coming to Matrix today, I think that one of our goals is to become an attractive place for people with passion.
Absolutely.
And I think that this is a theme for us. And so it's not surprising to me that after what you've done in your career up to this point, and where we want to go with Matrix, which is the right string in the right hands, that is a total important consultative process.
True.
That we want to be an attractor to the right talent, and I think we've been lucky and fortunate to have found the likes of Art Stillman and Aaron Maurer.
Absolutely.
Who come to us with careers of their own in drilling, with a passion for this industry. And where would we be today without guys like them to help us continue this and carry the message forward?
George Bernhardt included in
George
that.
Bernhardt, absolutely.
even today, it's still the ability to call up Kent Peters and say, Kent, teach me a history lesson, give me a history lesson, and be able to get information that is vital to what we do. And so, yeah, there's
people with passion that, and we want to be an attractor for that. We're gearing for that.
Yeah,
I would say.
Well, just got news this morning. We have 2 new engineers that are signing on. So how about that? That's one of our goals for the year, was to get some new engineering help so we can continue to develop and bring on products. But I like what you said about developing people and being people oriented, and that's part of our the qualities of Matrix that we really want to have. That you come to work and you're excited and passionate about what you do.
Yeah.
Because that's when the inventive juices flow, and then solutions are made. And and I can't tell you how many people we meet at shows that say, what would be cool if we had something that did this,
right?
To be able to think about it and say, hey, you know what? That's a good idea. We're going to make one. We'll send it to you. You try it. You tell me if it works, and then we'll make it.
We're in the middle of that right now.
Right now.
That happened in December. An idea was formed at National Groundwater Week, and in Vegas.
Yep.
The prototype's being built right now.
Yep.
And that client is going to be our go-to for that idea. It was their idea.
Their idea. We'll send them a free version of it, and then if it all works out, we'll start putting it out to the market. So
cool stuff.
It will work out.
It's gonna be fun.
It was noted early, and even before Nate and I were involved, it was noted by Kent early that if there was a missing part of Matrix, the impact that Matrix had on the clientele, his helmet would go around to these places and help them again solve issues that they were facing. Nate and I also had noted early that we were in need of this. Now, George had been on board as sales, mostly eastern area, but we knew that we needed someone in the West to come along. And so, as we were discussing this, and as we were, at trade shows and looking who is it that we could bring on, it had been a long-term goal of Kent and mine to actually talk with Art and have Art come on board. But it was Aaron that actually came on before. Aaron saw the value in becoming a Matrix employee and co-worker, because that's the environment, and he was looking for the environment of family that we provided. Kent and I actually had dinner with Art here in Salt Lake City, and gave you a swing at the plate. You said it just wasn't time yet. It just isn't time yet, and so we backed off. But a couple of years later, Art Steelman comes on board, having been with Eklund Drilling and Longyear 35 years. Aaron coming out of many different aspects, but most recently of Lane. And Aaron, you remind me how you've been in drilling your whole life, as I recall.
Yeah, that's
16. So we have people who are you hate to just label them salesmen. Not salesmen, but these guys are lifers that have been in the industry and seen many different things, that are there to help find the solutions for the clientele that need to be in place. Again, they're the guys who start formulating what the right string is in their hands, and their experience has been integral to Matrix's continued success and future as we go forward. So I introduced to you Art Steelman.
Thank you.
Aaron Maurer.
Thank you.
These guys are both field technicians, representatives of Matrix drilling products in various areas, regions of the United States, East and West. And Art actually came on as director of you got to remind me I'm not into terms. I'm not in but you're the VP business development. Yep. And with that has come such a great asset with both Art and Aaron, that
Well,
it's helped our company immensely.
We both worked with teams for years now, and you know, when you are lucky enough to assemble the right people in the right place, and it feels like the dream team, to me, that's what this feels like. And I, you know, everybody who's in this mix right now has the opportunity to build this and be a part of this. But folks just check their egos at the door and come to work to do what's right for the client. And that's a lucky, fortunate position to be in when you get that. And I feel like we have that with Art and Aaron and George and Nancy and the others that are not here today, that helped to form up the business development arm of the company, the solution makers.
Sure. Well, maybe if you take a moment, introduce yourselves, gents.
Yeah. Art Stillman. As Chris noted, I worked for the Eklund Drilling family for about 22 years, 23 years, and then worked for Longyear for about 12 and a half years. Have been Matrix Drilling Products has been part of my growth throughout my entire career. Met Helmut and Bob. 1987, Don Schwimmer was there, and worked with them. We, you know, as drillers, I always liked this part of the industry. Nothing is created here. The greatest minds are those running the drill rigs. It's one thing that would the minds are there because that's where the problem exists. And Matrix was always, I always put credit where credit's due. They were integral into making my career is so successful and entertaining and challenging. So, like I said, it's an industry I absolutely love, and I give back everything that I've learned. That's my goal, is to can't take it with me.
Can't take it with you.
Knowledge is here to share. So, yeah. As we are assembled now, guess what? Aaron Maurer, I go to him for technical expertise on a different phase of drilling. He comes back to me for that, and you hit a spot on, Nate. This entire team that we have here, everybody brings something to the table. It works pretty harmoniously. It works real well. I lean on you for this. I lean on you for that. I lean on you.
It's funny, you know, it's because as you point out that not anyone really has the whole enchilada, right? We all have parts and pieces. We're all have expertise in areas and certain things. And that's what
really rounds
helps
out
us to
nice.
round it out.
Yeah.
Aaron?
So I'm Aaron Maurer. I got my background with a internship learning the environmental business, which consequently involves drilling, the stuff that Chris, Art, all of us have been involved with, taking core samples or doing remedial work. I learned early on that the world is a contaminated place. And so I wanted to make a difference, and I had an internship and went to college and got an environmental engineering degree. And I realized right out of college that it's hard to get a job. And it's funny, we're here in Grand Junction today. My first true job out of college started here in Grand Junction.
Cool. Right.
And so
That's cool.
it was doing environmental work for a large environmental company, which consequently uses drilling. I got introduced to Sonic, and I got introduced to, you know, the hollow stem auger side of business. But that didn't last too long because, you know, I wanted to aspire to more. Got sucked into the oil and gas business, learned drilling, learned money, learned, you know, that you work 364 days a year. The only day off that you could normally ever schedule was Christmas. And I did that, and that actually opened some phenomenal opportunities to some larger water well companies, which I ended up, you know, transitioning to and having a big part of not only water, but environmental work in the sonic drilling business, as well as the mining business. And that's where I met Art Stillman. Believe it or not, him and I were on a job walk together, bidding the same project with the same resources, same equipment, same everything. And this guy wins the job because he says our rigs have better fuel consumption and we can get more footage. And I don't know if that's true or if it's not, but he won the work we didn't. I put my tail between my legs. Well, years later, here we are. And I'm doing my onboarding. I get an opportunity. I reach out to Ken Peters, and Ken says, "Hey, I need to connect you with Chris and Nate." And consequently, that moved that ball forward. When I'm doing my onboarding, Art was actually in the parking lot, and Chris goes, "Well, that was the guy that we really wanted for this job." He was just joking. And lo and behold, it's funny, we've got this backdrop, but I went and visited this rig that's right to our left, your guys' is right, in Tonopah, Nevada. And met with the customers and took them some Matrix swag. And those guys said, "We haven't seen anyone from Matrix since Helmet was here." And that's when I knew that, you know what, we're formulating this plan. We're getting our name back out in front of people, but now the people in the field that are our customers get to see us. And then Art came on board, and all we did was just strengthen this dynamic. And then Nate put traction in front of us as well, which really opened my eyes. We talk about checking egos at the door. It opened my eyes to, you know, right people and right seats and wrong seats and everything. And it all made sense, you know, and this is a family.
Yeah.
These guys are my family, you know. I pray for them like they pray for me, and they take care of us and we take care of them, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Great. It's a great feeling to come to work and know you're surrounded by guys that care for you.
Yeah.
Looking out for you, you know,
And gals, we got.
guys and gals, yeah, sorry.
Gals there
we
too.
definitely do. Absolutely, yeah.
And it works. It works. Well, it's been a place where talent can thrive, you know, and as we look to our core values, what we've created for the as an organization, we had created our core values together.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that you know, one person said, "This is who we are and what we are. This is our identity." That identity actually is an evolving process as we work towards solving new and developing emerging problems in the world we live in. And as we get smarter about this, we evolve. And it wouldn't happen without everybody that is at, and there are more people, like we've commented on, at this table than are represented here today, but it's great to be able to sit down and get it out in the open and speak to it. People behind Matrix. And like what you said, Aaron, we are trying to reignite, and have we been successful at reigniting what Matrix had some years ago? We'll let the critics decide, but for now it feels like we're going in a good direction.
Yeah, the one thing that I really truly enjoy about this, like I said, spending my entire career with Matrix of old and value that they brought to the industry, to the discipline of drilling, and the mind, and I mean the brain power, right? You come to somebody with a problem, you want an answer, and Matrix has always provided that, I believe, to customers since its inception and creation. And you know, what was so comforting to me is to see that it never left. If anything, it strengthened, it grew. I mean, that what I knew of Matrix in my career exists. And I, you know, publicly thank you guys. I've told you this in last year. Thank you for keeping that, you know, the gist of Matrix alive, the backbone.
That's the same way. That's the same way I felt. It's the same way it worked for me when I was in the field. Same I got, and it worked. It was a key to the success. And you know, without that, for everyone, for every entity in the drilling industry, it would be rough. You know, I'm in it to make great products and service the heck out of people, and that's what I love.
Yeah. Well, for those
Love the drilling.
For those who haven't experienced Matrix, so you know, this is an open invitation.
Yeah.
You know, contact us and find out what the solutions are, what they do, what it's like, and what these guys have experienced.
We'll truly get the right string in the right hands.
Yeah.
That's the important takeaway.
Thank you for joining our Drill Talk. If you'd like to know more about our guests, please click on their logo and go to their website. To find more Drill Talks, go to thedriller.com. Please subscribe there for unlimited access to this series, the latest news impacting the drilling and water industry, original columns from drilling professionals like you, and so much more. Drilling into topics that matter most to you is what compels us at thedriller.com to go deeper. Thanks again.